What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. Me? You want me to play for you at your wedding, at your event, your corporate event, at your birthday party, your bar mitzvah? I haven't done a bar mitzvah in a long time. I need to get back into those. I love parties. I love playing for the people. The people need to be entertained. Let me entertain you. All you not entertained. Speaking of entertainment, today on the program, I got Donnie Roberson. Who's Donnie Roberson? What? What are you asking me? If you don't know by now, you're going to get to know in the next few minutes. So stick around. I'm looking forward to letting you hear more about Donnie Roberson. This week's shows. I have two public shows this week for your entertainment pleasure. On Thursday from 6 to 9, I'll be at the Old Post Barbecue in Russellville, Arkansas. That's the Thursday night video dance party, karaoke jam, family friendly. So if you're in the Russellville, Arkansas area, I encourage you to bring everybody to the Old Post. Great barbecue, and they got frosty beverages for the adults in case you care to imbibe. You can do it right there at the Old Post Barbecue on Thursday night from 6 until 9 p.m. And then Friday night, Friday night, I'm at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas from 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the a.m. The video dance party karaoke jam. Now, this show is over 21, so they got a full bar, kitchens open, pool tables, pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try to make some money on a Friday night, I encourage you to check out the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, while you're waiting to sing on stage right next to me. I said karaoke. Yeah, you're the stars of the show. All I'm doing is pressing buttons. Always a good time. Thursday nights at the Old Post, 6 to 9, Russellville, Arkansas. And then Friday night at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the a.m. And then on Saturday, I have a wedding. Why do I mention it? Because weddings are back, baby. I'm so excited. I have 3 weddings this month. I have 3 weddings next month, and I think I got 4 weddings coming up every month after that until almost the end of the year. But there's a few Saturdays available, so if you need some entertainment, please give me a call at 501-470-6386 or, visit my website, KeysDAN.com or DJLittleRock.com. Well, that's it. That's it for the intro. Let's get into it with Donnie Roberson. I've got him on the Skype, so if you're listening to the video version of this, I encourage you to check out the audio version. Oh, wait. If you're listening to the audio version, I encourage you to check out the video version on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN. All right. My tongue-tied, tongue-twisted. Let's get into it with Donnie Roberson. I'm not editing anything. Skyping Donnie Roberson now. Well, look at that cowboy. Is that a Donnie Roberson?
That's him.
Did I pronounce that correctly? Is it Roberson or Roberson?
Robinson.
Roberson.
Yeah, Roberson.
There you go. Now we got the name correct. It's good to know a name, because what's in a name? A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. That sounds lyrical, but those are not my lyrics. Those are Bill Shakespeare's. All right, cowboy. Well, you're on with KeysDAN. Good to know you. And a big special thanks to Jana Johnson for putting us together, and to Levi Abney for his technical expertise.
Hey, he's the one. I don't know nothing about computers.
Well, that's all right, man. You don't have to know about computers. You are a musician. You got a creative mind. You got stuff that goes in here and comes out as musical entertainment for the people. Yeah. Give the people a little idea who you are, Donnie Roberson.
Well, I'm Donnie Roberson. I was born at Fort Carson, Colorado. and moved to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, which later on I moved to Sylacauga, Alabama.
All right. Why did you start in Colorado, and what moved you to Fort Bragg, and what year was that?
I was born in 1972. I was an Army brat. Brother and sister was born at Fort Bragg, and later on we moved to Sylacauga, Alabama.
See, I could have figured that. As soon as you said Fort Bragg, I went, Army. Sounds like Army to me. So dad or mom's in the Army? Who's in the Army?
Dad was one of them dudes that jumped out of a perfect good airplane.
All right. And how long was he doing that?
I couldn't tell you. I was just a little fella.
Okay, so he was out of the Army by the time you were of age to realize?
Oh, yeah. I was already in Sylacauga, Alabama by the time.
Okay.
All that place.
I mean, what did you learn from your dad? Was he all Army? Was he fully, by the book, straight as an arrow, as the typical movie Army dad would say? What did you learn from him?
I learned how to sing country music.
So what kind of music was he playing for you?
Actually, I grew up with Lefty Frizzell and Old Haggard and Jones, Conway from the 60s.
Yeah, that's what we get from our parents. I mean, I remember my mom and dad, they would give me, I think Gordon Lightfoot was one of the first records they gave me. And I remember singing Lukenbach, Texas was one of the songs that, because I'm born in 69, so we're just about the same age. So I figure our parents are probably around the same age as well. I mean, my mom's a child of the 60s, but she had a different kind of upbringing. I mean, but not as straight as an arrow in the Army type of upbringing. She was more of a I guess a hippie chick. But so that's a whole nother story. Donnie Roberson, you learned country music from your dad. Did he play any instruments at all?
He was the lead singer of the second hottest band in Alabama in the 80s.
What band was that?
Actually, Alabama had the group called Wild Country before they became Alabama. Well, they controlled the part of the North Alabama. Well, his band, he had the Desert Wind Band and controlled the South.
Well, that is high. That just lets me know that this is fully, I've had this theory ever since I started this podcast and talking to musicians, since 1986, I've been on the radio and over and over and over again, there's a through line that it's got to be in the blood. It's genetic. People that have their, I guess it's every profession. If your dad was a butcher, you'll probably be a butcher. Your dad's a dentist, he'll probably be a dentist. Dad's a garbage man, you'll probably find something else to do because garbage man stinks, man. It's a tough job. It really is. But somebody's got to do it. It's a hard job, I'll tell you. But, your dad is a musician, and from what you're saying, that's high praise. He controlled the whole South of Alabama with his band, and it was the what winds?
It was a Desert Wind Band.
Desert Wind. Why Desert Winds?
I couldn't tell you that. I was just a little feller, and he went from Desert Wind Band to the Young Country Band, actually to the Wild Country Band.
Okay, all right. Well, and what was Mom doing in all this?
Probably wanting to kick him in the butt because he probably wasn't doing the right thing.
Okay, so in the Army, maybe she had some more stability. But Army life is tough, man. I mean, you got to go out and meet new and interesting people in different lands and then possibly shoot them. Oh,
yeah. Like I said, he had actually Roy Acuff come to get him 4 times. If you walk off stage, Acuff and Rose was the biggest thing back in them days. And he wouldn't do it. He chickened out. So I got one shot and I left.
Okay, I think I'm missing half of what you just said. You said that somebody came for him, and he probably had a shot. Who was it?
Ernest Tubbs, Acuff and Rose.
Ernest Tubbs came for your dad.
Yep.
And he turned it down.
Turned it down.
That's a what if. That's a what could have been. I mean, everybody in their lives has turning points, has those what ifs, what could have been. But that's a tough one. That's a tough one. What could have been? So what did he end up doing? Did he end up being a party band? Because you could make a pretty good living as a party band in your own state, in your own area.
Well, he turned out being a truck driver and a bar band.
Well, that's good too, man. That's good too. Truck driving is the lifeblood of America, man. I got 3 brothers-in-laws that are truck drivers. My stepdad was a truck driver, cross country. I mean, that's a hard life too. You miss your family quite a bit. Was he cross country or local?
He was local.
Local, okay. At least he gets to be home every night. That's kind of cool. You know, at least you have your dad with you. A lot of times, man, if you don't take your little pup with you, you're gonna lose track of them. But all right. So your mom, besides kicking your dad in the butt, what was she doing, man? Does she have an outside job, or she was raising the kids?
Well, she raised kids and worked, I don't know, 20-something years at Avondale Mills in Sylacauga, because everything was textile back in the day.
Okay. What did you learn from your mama?
Not to act like my dad.
Okay. And did that lesson stick?
Oh, yeah. He still kicks me in the butt.
Yeah. Yeah. I say that to people, man. My mom's a shoe throwing mother. And if she catches me outside in my socks, she'll still throw a shoe at me. Put some shoes on. You're going to ruin your socks. Get your bare feet in. Well, I guess barefoot. I'm living in the country now. I can go barefoot anytime I want, man. But but that's another story, man. Donnie Roberson, man. Okay, tell me about you as a little kid in Alabama.
Well, actually, like I said, I grew up in Sylacauga, Alabama. It's going to be shocking to a lot of folks. I told Levi a story today that everybody knows Gomer Pyle.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Well, we used to play football in his yard. He was our neighbor, his mom, sister. They're from Sylacauga, and we all just hung out, be swimming, fishing, hunting. Actually, when I was young, like I said, I just took music and left.
Well, I mean, let me tell you, Jim Neighbors had a beautiful voice. Did you guys ever sing together?
No. Well, our music was nothing alike.
What's that?
Our music was nothing alike.
Oh no, he's definitely a crooner. I think my grandma must have had a record from Jim Neighbors. And yeah, besides him playing that lovable goof Gomer Pyle, he had the voice of an angel, man. I mean, people loved him, loved his music. But he'd ever sing for you or nothing?
We just seen each other in the passing when he'd come home. And I said, he's actually a pretty cool guy. I mean, he done a lot for our town.
Well, he must have been much, much older than you, right?
A lot.
Okay, that's what I figured. Because, his show was way back when. But you were playing ball. He was your next door neighbor in Alabama. See, that's a little known fact, man. People like to learn stuff, and I like to learn stuff on this podcast. And, that's a little known fact that he lived in Alabama in a pretty middle class life or middle upper, maybe. I don't know.
To them, to all those kids, they were just another person.
Kind of an unassuming home. See, I like that, man. If you can have that kind of fame, because he was huge and still have a certain kind of anonymity to where you can go to the grocery store and people aren't bothering you for autographs or taking your picture and such. It's tough, man. You got to give up some of your freedoms when you go for that fame. And that's where you're heading, man. I don't know how much fame. We haven't got into that part of your story yet. But, in school, were you singing? When did you pick up your first instrument?
Actually, I'm the lead singer. I can't play dead.
You can't play dead?
Yeah, I can't even play dead. I got 3 guitars and can't play neither one of them.
Okay, I'm with you on that. All right. I just recently moved and I had 4 guitars stolen from me in my on the move. I had them put in a storage unit and that got broken into. I know I've already mentioned that on this podcast. I'm kind of frustrated about it, but I had those guitars. I was learning some licks. I could play about 3 or 4 chords. nothing that I could take on stage. I'm more of the guy who promotes the musicians, promotes other people. That's why I got into radio, is to talk to people. You don't make a lot of money in radio, but you do get that notoriety and you do get the ability to promote other people. And that's what we're doing. We're talking to you, Donnie Roberson. So you have guitars that you cannot play. I am the same. I am with you. I think I learned power chords and Smoke on the Water. Yeah, and maybe a little bit of a Beatles song, and that's it. That's pretty much it. I learned a few scales here and there. Do you have any aptitude on any of those instruments behind you? If you're listening to the audio version, check out the video version. He's got a guitar, a fiddle, maybe another guitar hanging up there that I can see, and then in the distance he's got one. Can you play anything, Donnie?
Actually, I from G, D, and C, and A.
All right, that's a little bit better than me, man. I realize there's a D chord and a C chord and an E chord. There's an E. I don't know. Maybe I think people hit that E a little bit too much. The one on the bottom, right? Is that the E chord?
Well, you have to ask Levi about that because he's a player. I just sing.
All right. Well, when did you develop the aptitude for singing?
I started playing at 6 years old.
6 years old. What kind of singing were you doing at 6? Were you annoying the mom and dad, or were you singing in a church choir or singing at school or something?
I actually done my first, it was at school. I think I done my talent show at about 6.
At 6?
I actually won.
Well, what show was it? Do you remember?
It was just one of those school things that we had there. And, guy asked me, he said, "You sing all the time, little guy?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You'll sing this show?" And I'm like, "I don't care." So I actually got up and done Your Cheating Heart.
Oh, fantastic. Hank Sr., man. That's when music was just music. There was no genres, really. It was because I remember hearing maybe a little soundbite of Hank Sr. He said, "Hey, well, you were in the genre of country music. Back then it was just music. He really didn't think of it as I'm in the country music or he's in the rhythm and blues or, Delta blues or anything. It's just music, and good music is good music, man. If you're learning from Hank, you got a good foundation. You got a good base.
Well, that's where I learned. I mean, I learned Hank Conway, old George Jones, the old timey Merle Haggard, Eddie Arnold, Lefty Frizzell.
So was your mom and dad playing records at the house, or did they have 8-tracks, or what they got? What they got? What kind of sound system they got going on there?
Actually, I learned all this from my grandparents.
Okay, what were they playing it on?
8 tracks.
Yeah, explain for the kids what an 8-track is.
You'd actually be shocked, but I still have a whole thing of 8 tracks, and I have a 8-track player. All it needs to be done is put in the car.
Well, tell the kids what an 8-track player and the advantage and disadvantage of an 8-track player is.
Well, back then I was too young to know what an 8-track player was. I just knew when you stuck that big old thing in there and you hit that button, Conway and Loretta of it, or George and Tammy came out. My grandparents went to singing like canaries.
Okay, so it goes way back. You got grandma and grandpa singing as well. All right, for those kids that don't know, an 8-track player is music on tape, and it's a big cartridge. And the disadvantage, unless you had one of those fancy 8-tracks that had a fast forward on it, which I think I had one that had a fast forward, you had to put that tape in, and it just played the whole album. And there was no way you were going to fast forward, rewind, or skip. You had to listen to the whole thing. So this was lessons learned, that you weren't just listening to the hits, you were listening to the rest of the album as well. And this is why some of those albums become pure gold all the way through, because you had no choice but to listen to the whole thing.
That's right.
Fantastic. All right, so you're Cheating Heart, 6 years old, and the kids at school, what they think of you?
They just thought I was a little bitty feller, had daddy's cowboy boots on and a big old hat. They said that he could sing.
Okay. So Donnie Roberson, not just playing cowboy, you've been a cowboy from way back. Any other cowboy doings that you do? Yeah, any roping? Any riding bulls? Any other cowboy interest you have?
I tried a bull once, and I said, you know what? If we're gonna ride something with horsepower, we're gonna ride that big horsepower.
Okay.
We like
Well, I mean, you're in Alabama. There's a lot of racing, a lot of. I mean, in the country in the South, what kind of trouble are you getting into as a kid, Donnie Roberson?
We better not discuss this.
I think the statute of limitations is probably gone.
Oh, hey, I'd just say we were kids.
I mean, I used to ride ATCs. I had the three-wheeler, the 185S, the three-wheeled ATCs back in '82. And I remember, kids, don't do this, man. I remember BB guns. And I remember, with your boys, you try crazy stuff. And I had the pump Daisy BB gun. I think it was a Daisy, but, we'd shoot each other in the leg. And then we go, one pump, only one pump. Don't, in the leg, down here, in the meaty part. And I was born and raised in Miami, and I lived in the Everglades quite a bit. So, yeah.
I have been. It's actually nice.
What's that?
I have been there. It's actually nice.
Okay. When was the last time you went to South Florida?
Probably 98, 99.
Okay. That's a little bit of the same dirt we chewed. What took you down to South Florida?
Lake Okeechobee and Big Backs.
Big Backs. What's Big Backs?
Big Bass, Lake Okeechobee.
Oh, bass. Yeah. See, I've been more of an ocean fisherman, and I cannot get into this lake fishing. I know you put a bobber in, and a lot of times it's throw it out, bring it in. Throw it out, bring it in. I think ocean fishing is a lot more lazy. You sit in your boat, have a sandwich, put the rod in the water, and just wait for a bite to come. It's a lot more lazy out in the open water. But tell me about you fishing.
I used to go down. We've been to Okeechobee. I fished out of Miami. I fished out of the Keys. Not been long ago, we fished off Dolphin Island. Went out and caught a bunch of big snapper that wasn't in season, but it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you notice my name's KeysDAN, or at least that's the handle I go by from the Florida Keys. My mom and grandma are still down there saying, "Come home, son, come on home." But here I am in Arkansas, Central Arkansas. People ask me every day, "Why are you in Arkansas?" But all right, you're Alabama. You're a little kid. You're voice of an angel. You could sing. And that's your talent. How do you develop that talent through the years from 6 years old till right now?
I can't answer that. I mean, I just followed the lead. They quit. I wouldn't stop. Like I said, my dad had 4 chances to go. He chickened out. I had 1 chance, and Vern Gosling put me on the stage, and I never looked back.
Yeah. All right. So six years old, 7 years old, 8 years old. You singing with bands, without bands, a cappella?
I sing a cappella. Wherever they let me sing, I sing. I don't care. If it's a national anthem, I sing it. I did not care.
Any formal training? Anybody try to develop that talent, or you already had it?
My grandmother told me I was born with it. She said, "Your son, you're either born with it or you're not." She said, "Get it and go."
Well, that sounds like you had a calling, and that's the only thing. That's the only choice you had. Did you have any other extracurriculars? You play sports, or you excel in science, reading, writing, arithmetic?
I actually played a little football in high school. I was a pitcher in high school. I went to college, played ball. Decided my coach told me I was too small to pitch for the Braves, so like everybody else, I kind of drank myself out of college.
Well, what college you end up in?
Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State. Man, that's what's the mascot there?
I couldn't tell you. No more. It's a gamecock. It's a rooster.
Okay. All right.
But, I mean, I went into Diesel College.
Wait, Jacksonville, Florida, or Jacksonville, Alabama?
Alabama.
Okay. See, I know there's Jacksonvilles everywhere. I think there's one in Arkansas too. But but all right, man. We're just getting to know you a little bit. When did you start? When did you feel like you could take it on stage and start making some dough? Maybe, or did you have a fallback? Did your mom and dad say you better get yourself a career? Or did you go to college for anything special?
Actually, I went to a diesel college. I took another course, auto body. So they said, if you don't make it here, you can fall back here. I'm like, well, I still drive truck to this day when I'm not playing music.
Excellent, man. Like I said, lifeblood of America. Now, you drive local or you drive across country?
I drove 22 years across country, hauling produce, and then I rode in, 2013.
That's fantastic, man. But all right, I'm looking at your. Okay, you need to update your Facebook because you had some college and it says you have the School of Hard Knocks, University of Life. So okay, so truck driving school, is that an actual? You went to an actual school for that?
Well, actually, my dad was a truck driver. He drove dump truck and dump bucket, and they hauled all this. And I told him, "You're not a truck driver, so I'm going to be a produce hauler or a cattle hauler, and I'm going to be a real truck driver."
See, that's what kids play with trucks. I remember playing with my Tonka trucks, and I felt like, man, one day I want to drive one of these things. I think the closest I did, I worked at Kmart, and I drove a forklift. Oh, no, I guess I was a firefighter for 10 years, so I got to drive big fire trucks, and that was kind of fun, too. So all kids, they play with trucks and cars, and they dream about, maybe driving one of these big trucks and cars. Did you play with little trucks and cars when you were a kid?
Still got some of them.
Still got some. That's right, man. I remember when I was a firefighter, I had people kept giving me fire trucks every birthday and Christmas, because they figured that's what I was into. And I know, half the time I was either DJing on the radio and the other time I was on the fire department. So yeah, the people seem to give you stuff according to what you do. Do they ever give? I mean, how did you get all those guitars?
Actually, just older cats that I used to go up and sing on Saturday and Sundays, and they tell my dad, "Look, you need to promote this kid. He wants something, but you don't want to back it. Because you're scared of it as a kid." And they're like, "He has it. You had it, but you quit. He wants it, but you won't push it." So a buddy of mine, he's actually passed now, named Lonnie Carmack, and he had actually the mandolin hanging on the wall right here. He gave me that. He said, "You just picked it up one day and just started strumming." He said, "I'm telling you, if you practice, you can do it." So you see it's hanging on this wall.
Man, you got people that are backing you up. That this tells me that you have people that feel like you have something. You have the ability to go far in this industry. And how far have you gone? When you were in college, okay, you got the truck driving to fall back on, but were you just doing talent shows, open mics? What have you done to further your career?
Well, actually, for a poor boy in Sylacauga, Alabama, I opened for 125 major artists in my career. Actually, Vern Gosden gave me my first start. I actually got to pay to play the Grand Ole Opry back in the 90s. I played with Charlie Lubin. I played with Mel McDaniel. I've actually got to open for Haggard. I played with Willie. All I can say is I was blessed.
You say you played with all these greats, but you don't play an instrument. You mean you opened for them? You sang for them?
That's right. I opened for everyone. I've opened for Alan Jackson. I've opened for, actually, I guess the highlight of my career, Hank Jr. was kind of like an icon. So I got to open for him. Me and actually David Allen Coe done a lot for a couple of years.
Well, as somebody who doesn't know a lot about you, I mean, anybody can go and look up Donnie Roberson on the YouTube and find, there's a topic, truck driving honky tonk cowboy. Is that something that you wrote?
Actually, I did write it coming out of Brownsville, Texas one night about 2 a.m. on the steering wheel with a garbage bag running about 90 miles an hour.
See, inspiration, man. Here you are, you're actually truck driving honky tonk, and it inspires you to make a song. And it's a pretty good song, man. I was listening to it. I don't do a lot of research for these things because I like to have these things unfold like it's a like it's a getting to know you, like it's a friendship that's forming. And I want my listeners to feel the same way, that they're getting to know Donnie Roberson. And when did you figure out that you had the aptitude not only to sing songs, but also to write songs? When did that start?
I think I wrote my first song in the 6th or 7th grade sitting in English class because a girl broke my heart. And a buddy of mine decided, he said, "Hey, what's wrong with you?" And I said, "It's about this girl." And he's like, "Well, what do you got to say to her?" And I said, "Talk to me, Crystal." And he's like, "You like that?" So we sit down and he's like, "You want help?" And I'm like, "No, I want to write this myself." And I just sit down and wrote it. And he said, I don't know, about 2 days. And he's like, "Just wrote your first song." It's never been recorded, but I mean, it sits back in my files. But
why didn't you ever record it? I mean, we have the ability in the 80s and 90s. We have those tape players. You just press the 2 buttons and you record whatever you got to sing.
I would sing it, just me and just hit record and sing it. But as far as that, it just went back in the file like the rest of. I mean, I think since I started then, I've got probably 500 songs that I've written.
So you sang it to that girl, and what'd she think?
Well, it didn't turn out so good.
You put your heart out there, man. You wore your heart on your sleeve, and hey, sometimes they'll take that heart and just eat it. Yum, yum, yum.
What do you say? I mean, you just did. You said what you had to say, wrote it in a song, and they're like, "What is that?" I'm like, "That's me to you."
Yeah, that's the age-old thing, man. We're put on this earth to impress girls. That's our thing, man. And that's how we procreate and keep the species going. But everything you do, for the most part, I think 99.9% of the things that guys do is to try to impress a girl.
I mean, that's the way it works.
and the girls think they don't have control of this world. They think it's all male. No. They got control. They can make us do whatever we want, whatever they want. Oh my goodness! All right, Donnie Roberson, man. So, tell me a little bit about. Okay, you're playing with the greats, man. How did that come about? Did you have somebody that was an agent that was telling you, "Hey, why don't you open up for Mel McDaniel or open up for some of these cool cats"? How did that come about?
Actually, I don't know. Back in the early '90s, I wasn't always about computers, but that's the way of the future. We used to get on a thing called Pal Talk. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I'm not. Oh, Pal Talk. Yeah. I remember a little picture on the side. And yeah. Oh, okay. I remember Pal Talk.
Well, we used to get on some of the live acoustic rooms, and I had a guitar player because I couldn't play lead. He said, "I'll play, you sing." And I just built a backing right there. And a lady heard me one night from Iowa, and she's like, "Do you have an agent?" And I'm like, "What the hell's that?" I said, "No." She said, "Can you be in Nashville to do a showcase on this date?" And I said, "Honey, I'm about to unload in Chicago, Illinois." And she said, "Well, I need you on stage at 6:45. And I said, "Okay." I unloaded at lunch. But all I can say is that Peterbilt made it to Nashville that night. I told her, I said, "Look, you're going to have to put me either last or next to last before I can get there." I said, "Honey, I got a day job." And we showed up, and usually they say that people, that she said, "We're going to have labels, we're going to have some producers, we're going to have some people there. You're going on last." You look at it like, ain't nobody going to be there. I said, okay. So I showed up. I got on stage. I done my 4 songs, and some guy walked up to me at the end. I still can't remember his name, but he asked me, he said, do you have a manager? And I'm like, I have a Peterbilt in the parking lot. He said, would you like to play Fanfare tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So the next day, I actually opened up for T. Graham Brown at Fanfare. And the following day, I opened up for Charlie Pride. And she said she had been doing this 20 plus years. And she said, I've never seen nobody come and do what you did. And there was 30 people invited.
Man, okay, this is what you learned from your dad, is when opportunity knocks, you go ahead and open that door. You were in Chicago, Illinois. Let me recap for the people that heard, because the connection's not perfect, but you were in Chicago, Illinois, in your Peterbilt truck, working. You had a day job. I mean, was that at the end of the hall, or was that you were picking up something and they said, hey, drive over to Nashville and come sing some songs for us, and you just did it? How did you do that with your day job? Was that your truck, or were you working for somebody else?
Actually, back then I was working for somebody else, and I had a truck that would go fast back in the day. But he told me, he said, your dad had a chance, and he never. If you get this chance, he said, I'll pay for the fuel. Be on that stage at 6:45 tonight. He said, you deadhead from Chicago, Illinois to Nashville and chase what you want to do.
That is a turning point in your life. What year was that? And give props to that boss of yours that let you do that. This is that turning point. People have those what ifs and what could have been. This is one of those turning points. Who's your boss? And yeah.
Actually, I worked for Brian Bailey. He's no longer in the trucking business, but he was a good boss. And I think 94, 95.
Do you feel like that was the turning point that put you to a different level, at least if not, pay wise, in your mind, that this is another place?
Well, I thought, hey, here's this kid, growing up singing all this crazy music growing up. And, hey, I'm chasing everybody in my family's truck drivers. So you followed right there, too. We played honky tonks. And when he told me, he said, son, go chase what you want to chase. He said, I'm paying for your diesel fuel. He said, I'm telling you what, I'm paying you to go chase your dream. And when I called him the next day and I said, you know what, thank you. You just put me on stage in front of 100,000 people at Fanfare. Yeah. And he said, well, who are you opening for? And I said, Brown. He said, you're crazy. And I'm like, oh, I'm serious. He said, I'll be there tomorrow.
No, now your boss came to Nashville, showed up. Ha! Now that's people that back you up, man. These are. I'm glad you gave a shout out to them, because I always like to give credit where credit is due. So where did that take you, man? Did you get that manager?
Well, actually, I wound up with a manager, and like I said, I've opened for probably 120 artists, 25 major artists. Dating back to, actually in Alabama, there used to be a big place called Jemison where they put big music on. I actually got to sing for Conway, or open for Conway, when I was, I don't know, 17, 16.
Wow.
I've got to, I've been on tour buses with Hank. I've been with Kid Rock. Me and Jamie Johnson grew up playing the same nightclubs. And like I said, I was blessed. I was always seen to be, as I tell my friend Levi, I owe him a lot of props. I had quit the business in 2013.
Okay, so from 96 to 2013, were you playing regularly?
Yeah, I played all over. But I drove a truck, and like I said, even every album I've come out with, we've been on 3 albums, and I made sure on every album that it had something to do, because you never forget where you come from. Something to do with an 18-wheeler.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, see, that's your inspiration, man. That's people draw from the experiences that they do, and if you're driving trucks all over the place and seeing this great country of ours, you're going to get inspired. You're going to, I've taken cross country trips, and I've seen some of the things in this country. People go, "Oh, I got to go see Europe." Well, there's plenty to see here. I know our country's not as old as some of those countries in Europe, but there is plenty to see and plenty to inspire you. But man, you're playing from 96 to 2013, and you said that you had albums. When did you start putting those albums together? And was that in studios in Nashville or in Alabama?
Actually, I cut all three. They was cut in Nashville.
Okay. What studios? And did you have a backing band, or do you have your own band, or was it studio musicians?
I had my own band. I had my tour band, and then I had, studio musicians, which all of them were studio musicians then. That's about what your tour band was back then. You wanted professionals. You didn't hire a $50 player. If you got, you wanted somebody to pay $50, then you got a $50 player. Gotcha. I paid each band member I played with $225 per show. If we had two shows, I've been to shows where they got paid and I didn't get nothing other than merchandise.
Yeah.
But you pay you guys, they'll follow you anywhere.
See, that's the life of musicians. I mean, starving artist is a thing that I hear constantly. But you being, I guess it was always under the Donnie Roberson handle. Whenever you went on tour, it wasn't like Donnie Roberson and the.
Well, I played with the Young Country Band. Like I said, most of it was Donnie Roberson.
So you've always been a solo artist with a backing band.
Yes. I told my dad, I said, "You play bar bands for $50 a night, and all the beer you can drink." I said, "I about to take that name right there and go make $5,000 and pay the band $1,000." And
yeah, you're making a living. You're making some kind of a living between the truck driving job that that maybe affords you insurance. Because a lot of bands, a lot of people think, those musicians, they're doing great. Well, insurance is hard to come by sometimes. So having a day job that can afford you insurance, that might be good. I mean, you got to get to a certain level before you get into I guess there's a musicians union that affords you insurance. Are you in that?
Used to be.
Used to be. Okay. Well, so tell me about. Okay. I'm seeing 96 to 2013. You're touring. You're having a good time. You're doing some, you're meeting some people. I didn't realize there was going to be so many famous cameos in this podcast, but there's a lot of famous people. Like, you're touching greatness. You're learning from greatness. And then in 2013, why'd you chuck it all? That's another turning point.
Well, I guess you could say you chose between music and family.
Did you end up getting married? You had a family?
I've been married since '96, but we ain't married now. But I wanted to raise my daughter. Living on the road in a truck, living on the road in a bus, everything. You're just growing up in pictures. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I come home when she was 10th grade, and I said, "You know what? I want to be the last part of it." I never quit, but not like I did. I toured 17 years. Before that, but I wasn't here. I could have got here, but I wanted to stay in about medium ways.
Yeah.
I actually had a chance to sign with a label, and I tore the contract up. And I said, "Nobody owns me."
No, you're giving the people gems, man. You're letting them know if you want to be a touring musician, you got to give up a lot. You got to give up a family. You had a daughter that pretty much grew up without you, right?
Well, she grew up on the phone or in pictures, but like I said, she was born with the same gift. She sings like a canary.
Okay. Any collaborations there?
Hey, no. I wish she'd done country, but she sings better R&B. And I told her, if you ever decide to do it, I'll back you. She was 10, 12. And I took her. Actually, I'd done a thing one night just for giggles, and I filled out a thing online for truckers only. And actually, the truck driving honky tonk cowboy song I sent to a trucking thing, and they sent me back and they said, you're a professional. We can't let you win. But we want you to come here. And actually, she got to record with some from the Allman Brothers, and that's just a kid. She don't know who the Allman Brothers is. And the guy that come down the stairs that night from the studio, actually Johnny Neal. A lot of people out of Nashville know Johnny Neal. He's an awesome keys player. And he kept coming down the stairs trying to figure out who this grown woman was. And they took her hand and put him down on this little girl. And they like, wow. And he's like, you need to do something with this. I said, you can't tell them what to do. They can't get these little things right here out of them.
Well, I mean, you say, how old a girl is she?
She's 21 now.
21. And you say she's out there singing, you said R&B?
She likes R&B. She comes over here and sings with us sometimes, but she's got her own family now. I mean, I tried to get her to go into it. I tried to get her to do country. But she actually, I told you, my dad wouldn't do nothing with me.
Right.
So I had a chance and I won something. And I said, you know what? I can record this song with anybody that I want to record with. So I'm going to choose my daughter. And she went in the studio as a kid and recorded with me. And it turned out to be pretty good.
Now that's got to be touching, man. Daddy. Oh, that's fantastic. You're keeping that family tradition going, as Hank once sang. That's beautiful. And you're doing something for her that maybe your dad couldn't or didn't have time to do for you. But she has no interest in it now. No, not professionally. She's got something else going on.
She's getting ready to get married, got kids, and on the way. And actually, I got a granddaughter I'm hoping that has something in her. If she does, I'll sink my money in her.
Yeah, I just became a grandpa twice. So, yeah.
And the grandpa twice.
We're getting old, man. We're getting old. Where's the Donnie Roberson train going, man? How many songs you got out there recorded, and where can people find those things?
Actually, you go to DonnieRoberson.com. Actually, you can Google my name. I am all over the internet. I mean,
yeah, you definitely are. Now there's quite a few Donnie Robersons though. I found Donnie Lynn Roberson. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But there's quite a few Donnie Robersons. Easy enough to find your Spotify. I did find that. But
actually, I miss the days of MySpace. Actually, music you could get out there and everybody can find you. Yeah. You're funny.
I'm not giving up my MySpace. I still got 11,000 friends out there on MySpace. I'm not giving it up. I don't think anybody even looks at MySpace anymore. I think, what was it? Justin Timberlake had something to do with MySpace for a little while. I'm not even sure if he's still part of it.
Well, it's me. I sit there all the time. I'm like, what's my password? And I'm like, yeah, really me there. Here I'm on Facebook, and all these people I went to school with.
Yeah, I mean, I think I broke it down to the four: the Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Those are the four that I pretty much keep up with, and I think it simplifies a little bit. Now, some of the artists, some of the bigger stars that keep getting bombarded, they've pretty much just gone just to Instagram. But where can people? Are you on this social media at all besides the MySpace, or can people get a hold of you?
That big fella you interviewed not long ago, Levi Abney, he's trying to get me to Instagram, and I don't know nothing about Twitter. I got an account, couldn't tell you what the password is. I got in an argument with a coach at football one time. And, I got one answer on Twitter. I said, that ain't gonna do me no good.
And you're brushing with greatness. You're meeting people real life and playing with them. From 96 to 2013, you're living the life, man. You got to touch greatness, and a lot of those people are no longer with us. And I'm sure you learned a lot from them. Now you need to pick up some of those instruments behind you and start playing. I'm going to be another guy on your shoulder going, hey, Start playing some of that stuff, man. Can you at least play a couple of chords here and there?
Well, we would sit here Saturday, Sunday, and I hang out with Levi. Me and him's going. We're putting a tour together for next year, and I was just starting strumming. Actually, I was playing Old Habits, and he decided to walk over and put the mic down for the guitar. And he's like, well, "Plug it up." And I'm like, "I'm good." And he's sitting there, and I just strumming. Wasn't nobody paying me no attention, and I started singing it, strumming. He said, "I told you could play the guitar." And I'm like, "I told you, you're crazy." I said, "I hire people to play for me."
I mean, I could probably hold a guitar and perpetrate like I'm playing and singing at the same time. I'm not a great singer, but I do run a lot of karaoke shows. I'm not a great singer.
He said, "I can't wait till we're back out on the road. You play the best air guitar I've ever seen." He said, "You the best lead guitar on your belly I've ever seen in my life."
All right. So 2013, you gave it up, and Levi Abney instrumental in getting you back on. Where'd you meet up with Levi?
Actually, his mom worked for our company that I drove truck for. I still done music, but not professionally. And they invited me over one weekend, and and I sang a few songs because I was an Earl Thomas Conley fan. And he's like, "Man, you sing Earl Thomas Conley better than he does."
That's high praise.
He said, "Dude, do you still sing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, truck." He's like, "What?" He said, "Man, you got to start hanging out. Man, you need to get together." And like I said, we've been friends ever since. And he told me, he said, "Look, you're going back on the road. You're getting out of that truck." I said, "Dude, I'm 49. I just turned 49 years old." I said, "You know what? We'll call this my last one." Yeah. He said, "The people you play," he's got pictures in the studio here of me and Luke Bryant, me and Gene Watson. I've got, I told him, I said, "They're just pictures." I said, "They're no better than us." I said, "They put their britches on one leg at a time." He told me, he said, "I want to put something together, but I want you to go." And I said, "Well, let's go. You get me out of this truck. We book enough shows. I'll turn the key in right now." I said, "I'll be done." I said, "Ain't nothing holding me back. My kids are grown." And like I said, we have a lot of bookings for next year.
That's fantastic. That's good to know, man. Well, I'm going to put this podcast out pretty quickly, so give the people an idea of where they can catch a Donnie Roberson show and a Levi Abney joint.
Well, we were just in Tennessee. Morgan County, Tennessee. I think we're going to be in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. We're going to do something I think we're going to do some private things up there with some of the moonshiners.
Where do they find all these tour dates? JohnnyRoberson.com? Is that where it's at?
Me and Levi, we got somebody building my new website because when I quit, I took it down.
Okay.
We're starting to go ahead and book. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming up on DonnieRobersonMusic.com, and I think we're playing in Florida next year, and Texas, Louisiana. Actually, I've had somebody call me yesterday from Little Rock and in Conway, Arkansas.
Well, maybe I'll see you. I'm sitting right now in Conway, Arkansas. Who called you?
Actually, a guy I used to play with years ago. His name's Ruben. I mean, he was just a head of our band out there. They invited me out one weekend, and because I was coming through the truck, he said, "Man, this maybe something you're interested in. You want to stop by?" And I said, "Well, I can lay over."
Where was it?
It was, all I can tell you, there's a place out in the middle of nowhere that had mosquitoes that looked like B-52 bombers out there.
Well, I mean, I know there's TC's, and that used to be the Grand Ole Opry West.
That may have been what it was. All I know, it was years back, and he's like, "Man, you want to play here?" And I'm like, "Cool." Didn't know nobody in the band, walked up on stage, and they said, "You're hired." And I'm like, "Hired for what?" And I'm like, "You be the lead singer?" And I'm like, "No, I got a truck outside. I got to go to California."
I got work to do. Oh man, see, all these opportunities are knocking down your door, Donnie Roberson. You gotta let that gift out to the world. Now, where can people buy your stuff? Because can they buy that stuff on Spotify? Because I know you got
I think
few songs out there.
They got me. Actually, I didn't know. I don't even know how it got there, but one or two managers ago, I guess I wound up on Walmart.com, and I actually wound up at Target. I wear them. I mean, you can find me on CD Baby.
All right. Well, I'll definitely do that. I looked up your Donnie Roberson music website. I see where it's just about getting built. There's at least you have the contact page. I'll definitely put that in the show notes to let people know how to get a hold of you. But I mean, when's the next show coming up?
Well, right now, I think we're looking at something in the fall. We're actually going to play a big private thing in Pell City, Alabama. I got a friend ready to come down to their farm, and they're gonna turn the reins loose. But me and her went to school together. She's married to a guy, and he said, let him have fun. And I said, okay, book it my way. Let's pre-sale tickets and let's go have some fun. I think me and Levi and one other's gonna come down, and it's gonna be a good show.
Well, I mean, it's been a distinct pleasure meeting you, man. You're a good old boy. I'm talking to you like a regular guy, and you've brushed with greatness, man. You've been on stage with greatness in front of 100,000 people playing.
Hey,
what? I mean,
I played from the big crowd,
yeah,
small crowd,
yeah,
to we've actually brought some people off of the music we played.
Hey, man, I treat every show the same. I played in front of 70,000 people, and I've played in front of 2 people. And I treat everybody the same. Like, they came to see a show, I'm going to give you a show, and that I feel like that's how you are, Donnie Roberson.
If you sing 5 people, 5,000.
Man,
you pour your heart into it, whatever you do.
Well, I mean, it strikes me as you've got, I don't know if it's call it God-given talent, but you've got this voice, not even trained. You just started singing. Your grandma and grandpa, your grandma in particular, just pushed you forward, and people have been pushing you forward all these years. Well, as we wind this thing down, give some shout outs to people that have helped you along the way.
Hey, I give my thanks to the good Lord above. My mother.
Well, that's good, man. That's good.
Most of them gave me all the time that I needed on stage. They're not here no more.
Yeah.
I'd give anything to have Vern Gosden back here. Mel McDaniel, Mel Ted. I mean, I played, like I said, the list just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And most of the people I grew up to aren't here no more. And they think it's the last of a dying breed, but it's not. Everywhere me and Levi go to play music, and we called him Outlaw Country, and I told him, we fixed to make me a shirt with my emblems on it. Actually, this is one of my shirts.
Okay, and merchandising. That's where you make the money.
Oh, yeah, but I told him, I said, on the cross of it over here, I said, you're Outlaw Country. I said, I want to put true country down the side of mine. I said, because I sing nothing but real country music.
Yeah.
Crying, loving, bleeding.
Yeah, a lot of folks don't think that today's country is really country. It's more like rockabilly. It's more like rock and roll used to be. We got. I think of the line in the Blues Brothers that I've used many, many times. What kind of music do you play here? Oh, we got both kinds, country and Western. And I'm thinking that's the roots that you go to, is that old country, tumbling tumbleweeds, Marty Robbins type, Hank Williams. That's country.
I try to tell Levi all the time. I said, you know what? I'm kind of like Alan Jackson and George. I ain't changing for nobody.
You got that inspiration, man. And here you are. You got the hat on. You got the look. You got the feel. You got the street cred for country. You've been doing this long enough. 6 years old, and you're already at 49 and getting ready to go back out there and do it again. So, yeah. All right. So I'm going to have the people keep their eyes peeled at DonnieRobersonMusic.com and follow you on Facebook for all those good shows. You keep us updated. And when you do get the Instagram going and the Twitter, you make sure that you update those things too. You might have to employ that 21-year-old daughter of yours if she can break away a little bit to help you with that online social media.
There you go. Well, I'm gonna call you and see if you can teach me how to tweet her.
Aye. Well, it's been a complete pleasure talking to you, Donnie Roberson. Hey, I don't want this to be the last time we talk. As things progress, as time goes by, when you have other things that you need to promote, what is it in particular that you want to promote right now?
Well, actually, we're getting ready to record 2 singles that we're going to bring out. It's going to be my first album since 2013, and I've actually had the music wrote for years. And I let Levi hear it one night. He said, "Why don't you release it?" And I said, "Well, I released one of the songs. Actually, George Strait has one of them on hold, and Kenny Chesney has one on hold."
Well, tell the people what on hold means. I know what it means, but what's on hold?
That means they can hold your music for so long. They signed a contract. I mean, I can't do nothing with it. I've recorded it, but I can't put it out there for nothing. I mean, actually 2 albums, I think, ago is when I got the email from, I guess it may have been George's manager or whatever. It told me how much he enjoyed my song, but him and Bubba had wrote a song together. He wanted to choose Bubba. And I told him, I said, "You know what? The King told me my song's good. It's good enough to be on his album, but I'd make my son rich too."
I mean, when they put your song on hold, they give you a couple pennies to hold it?
Well, we took a verbal thing because back in the day it was all handshake.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you're going to stop me from recording my own music, I expect, give me $1, to hold it.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wrote one. It's actually all over the internet. Making You a Memory Tonight. And when we got to the studio, it didn't turn out the way I wrote it. It turned into a Caribbean song, and I'm like, I don't see me going to the Caribbean trying to sing this song. I don't know but one artist out here singing beach music. So I had some, and I told Levi, everything is right place, right time in this business.
Yeah.
It ain't about who you know. It's about right place, right time, and bang, it just happens.
No, it is about who you know. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know a lot of times. But I mean, you could go the route of Jimmy Buffett or what is it, Garth Brooks and Chris Gaines, where you have a dichotomy. I don't know if that worked out so well. I like the Chris Gaines stuff. I think it was kind of fun. Garth Brooks is great, but he said, "I want to try something different." And he came up with a different alter ego. So you may have a Caribbean life, man.
You see me in the Caribbean, I'm going to have a fishing pole in my hand.
Yeah. I mean, you already got street cred there. You've been to the Florida Keys. That's got to be inspirational too. I mean, I know I get inspired every time I go down there, man. It feels there's a 20-mile stretch between Miami and the Florida Keys. And once you get past that 20-mile stretch, your blood pressure drops, your feelings,
Yes.
the whole world drifts away. People that haven't been there just don't know.
And nobody speaks English but you.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter, man. It's the language of love. You're speaking music. It's universal.
That's right. It's awesome down there. But I tell everybody, y'all get ready to watch out for me and Levi's brand new song coming out soon called Moonshiners. Actually, me, him, and Cheston Green wrote the song right here in this studio.
Where are you going to record it at?
Actually, we're going to record it in Nashville. I'm thinking that Chemo, that's the lead guitar player for Alabama right now, is going to do our music, and we're going up and do that. And I've got another that's coming out, which, like I said, Levi chose one route, I chose another. And when you touched on it earlier, music's not what I grew up in.
Yeah.
And Levi thinks I'm crazy, but I said that, and the guy that wanted to sign me I met him a couple years later. And he said, "You know what, son?" He said, "You're too country for Nashville." I said, "No, sir. You're too rock and roll for me." So I went out and sat on the park bench on Music Row, and I wrote a song called "Down the Drain," of how country music went down the drain. And I'm getting ready to release it. I'm going to release it to Texas radio.
Oh, man. Well, good luck on those on hold songs, because that's money in the bank. That's a way to keep your dream going. That hopefully those things work out, and hopefully some of these songs, they just keep on. People think the music business is easy. It's just getting harder and harder. The only way you really make money now is going on the road and merchandising, right?
It's all about merchandising. Like I said, when I quit the business, all this internet stuff was Phoenix. We paid people to do this.
Yeah.
Now, guys trying to teach me how to do it this way, and I'm like, I'll call somebody in Nashville and I'll get this done. It's going to cost me some money, but I'm computer stupid. I said, one thing, I know a microphone. That's just what I built my life on. I mean, I know how to write music and I know how to sing music. I wish I could play music because I'd be unstoppable then.
I mean, so many things have changed from '86 to now, and you just got to roll with those changes. And it looks like you got it going on, man. Between you and Levi, you got a show that's coming up, and in the fall. Everybody should be looking for that.
It's sold out, I guarantee you.
All right, let's park this thing in the garage. Usually I like to finish these things off with last words for the people. Now, this could be, words that you heard a long time ago, words to live by, maybe a mantra that you wake up every morning, look yourself in the mirror and say, Donnie Roberson, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Donnie Roberson, last words for the people.
Before I go, I want to say one good thing about a good friend of yours. Her name's Jana Johnson. Thank you, Jana. And never let nobody tell you can't do it. Don't take no for an answer.
Well, there you have it, party people. Donnie Roberson. Man, that's one cool cowboy right there. That man's been doing it since he was 6 years old. Yeah, he's got some street cred, and he's brushed with greatness, and he's had a little greatness thrust upon him as well. And I'm so happy that we got to know a little bit of his story. Thank you so much, Donnie Roberson, for being on the program and telling us all a little bit about you, a little bit more, giving a little more insight on why you are who you are. And check his website out, DonnieRobersonMusic.com. I'll put that link in the show notes. So if you can't figure out how to spell Donnie Roberson, make sure you check out the show notes for this particular program. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now if I'm talking to you, would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. It's KeysDAN, radiowhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.